Welcome to the relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Yesterday, north of the border in Canada, the prediction stuck as former champion Kim Clavel beat out Mexico's own former champion Anabel Ortiz for what appear to be two lesser versions of a WBC title and an IBF title in the light flyweight division. And in the light flyweight division, the WBC champion is Lourdes Juarez, and the IBF champion is Evelyn Bermudez. She's unified. Evelyn, who Kim Clavel has fought before and lost to before, quite controversially, as most people that saw the fight felt Kim did enough, more than enough, to have won the fight. Kim herself protested the decision, but that's what happened. And so, if I had to choose, what's the more winnable fight for Kim Clavel out of those two fights with those two champions? I would say that the Lourdes Juarez fight is a more winnable fight for Kim than Evelyn because she fought Evelyn before and lost to her before. Juarez is more beatable. There is just one problem. Even though Lourdes Juarez is the more beatable fighter of the two, some years older, she's pushing 40, whereas Evelyn is several years younger, the problem is that Lourdes is spoken for the next two fights. She's going to make her first defense of the title very soon, and then after that, the World Boxing Council has mandated that she fight former champion Jessica Neri Plata later on in the year, and thus, if Kim Clavel were to stay on this route, she may not get her shot at Lourdes until next year. Do you want to wait that long? That's the problem, that Lourdes may not be available for most, if not all of, this year. There is an alternative to Evelyn, and an alternative to Lourdes. There is Sarah Bailey, newly crowned WBA champion, who is a lot less experienced than Evelyn, a lot less experienced than Lourdes, and a lot less experienced than Kim Clavel. That if you're gonna fight her, you better do it sooner than later, before she amasses even more pro experience. She's set to make her next ring appearance on the undercard of Lucas Badi's next fight, promoted by Most Valuable Promotions north of the border in Canada. Lucas Badi's gonna be on it, Tamara Thabout is gonna be on it, and Sarah Bailey is going to be on it. Kim needs to go after her. The issue I see with the Sarah Bailey fight is that Kim Clavel's name does not appear anywhere in the WBA's current rank standings. She's not ranked by them, and I feel that if you want to fight with Sarah, you should be. So that's a problem. All three champions have fights coming up. All three champions are spoken for. All three. Lourdes is fighting Myrna Sanchez. Evelyn Bermudez is fighting Tenkai Tsunami. And Sarah Bailey is fighting Christina Navarro. All spoken for momentarily. Things are shaking, rattling, and rolling in the women's light flyweight division for Kim Clavel. It's a case of pick your poison. What do you want to do, Kim? It's got to make a decision. I think the hardest fight for Kim is the Evelyn Bermudez fight, but it's not so hard that she stands no chance at all. A few adjustments, a few tweaks to make it more decisive, more conclusive, in order to create more separation. Evelyn isn't unbeatable. She's just the most difficult fight of the three. She's the most difficult champion to unseat. The most difficult is Evelyn. The easiest, I say, would be Sarah. And it's a fluid situation, though, because Lourdes is spoken for the majority of this year, and because Kim did also fight for a lesser version of an IBF title, I get the sense she might go after Evelyn. Maybe that's who she'll go after. Maybe she's gunning for a rematch. We'll see.
Do you think Shakur and Keyshawn should fight for the right to fight you?
I mean, they should. They ain't under the same. They ain't under the same coaches and none of that. They keep screaming their father and shit out. Fuck out of here, man. They do need to fight.
How do you feel about Keyshawn being a new champion?
That nigga was ass. The nigga ain't full. They pick people up from the top. We know how to do it. You know it. You know the top. We know how to do it.
You already got that blood in you.
They put the, you know, top right is good at putting shit in front of you. They probably have a good record, but they beat ass. See what they fought. That guy that had that belt, he was worse than Campbell.
In case you couldn't quite make out what Gervonta Davis said, he said that Dennis Berenchik, who Keyshawn Davis beat for the WBO title, was a worse fighter than George Kambosos. That's what Gervonta Davis said, and George has caught wind of it. He's not taking it lying down. George said, shit, okay, you brought me into it now. Ha ha ha. At least Kambosos has won every belt and stepped to Lopez, Haney twice, and Lomachenko all in a space of 2.5 years. Tanky, the jig is up, you ugly little midget. That's 3 Hall of Famers, top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. How many top 10 pound-for-pound fighters have you fought in the last 2.5 years? Yeah, that's right. Too worried about your zero, you cherry-picking dwarf. You ain't no gangsta. Real gangsters step to anyone. You're on the witness protection program. He didn't stop there. Back when George still was Unified Ring Magazine and lineal champion, right after he beat Teofimo Lopez, he was pursuing a fight with Gervonta. This is well before he landed on the Devin Haney fight. He said facts. I even flew to his fight against Cruz to offer him the fight. Ask Leonard Ellerby, for real. It's the same story, man. Gervonta Davis downplays everybody else in the division, everybody that he's not fighting, while fighting a lesser fighter than they are, than the people he's talking about. It's the same story, man. Do you understand that George Kambosos has beaten more champions at lightweight than Gervonta? Gervonta never beat a champion to be a champion. He was elevated to that position after Devin Haney moved up, whereas George won his belts from Teofimo Lopez, unbeaten at the time, pound for pound, and a high-quality scalp. You could argue that the scalp of Teofimo is bigger and better than any scalp on Gervonta's resume. Who compares? Who's supposed to be better? On Gervonta Davis's resume, who's supposed to be better than Teofimo? I like that George put him in his place, but it's just more of the same, isn't it? He said that Top Rank knows how to match their fighters. It's just so bizarre watching Gervonta Davis try to bend reality and watching the media going along with it, all the while Top Rank fighters usually beat PBC fighters. So what the hell is he talking about? That is, Top Rank fighters that are signed to Top Rank or developed by Top Rank, developed under the Top Rank banner, going through the Top Rank vetting process. That's why Vosdick beat Adonis Stevenson. Almost killed him. Why Beterbiev beat Marcus Brown. Why Tyson Fury beat Deontay Wilder. Why Terrence Crawford beat the brakes off of Spence. Why Inoue beat Fulton. And there's more. There's a lot more. More names and more fights than we have time for, and it's just bizarre watching Gervonta try to bend reality. You think that their fighters are the product of opportunistic matchmaking? That's you, buddy. You're projecting your inadequacies onto them. It's what a guilty conscience usually does.
But it's like people selling that self. Like, you know, even the picture where everybody was in the room. That shit look like some devil shit. Facts though. Some coke, right? Yeah. That shit like some devil shit. Like they sold that soul.
Yeah, you go with that.
But that was crazy.
Now he's implying that Turkey is a Satanist. But wasn't he the same one crying that he wasn't invited? Saying that the only people that got an RSVP were the people that they were working with. Does this little butterball have no situational awareness? Is he punch drunk already? Sounds like it. Struggling to get a coherent sentence out while the sycophantic media just laugh and play along. Go along with it. What is Turkey doing besides putting fights together? Bringing all of boxing together. Blurring the political boundary lines that prevented fights from happening before to deliver them now. What is he doing for that? Don't even worry about it, Gervonta. Don't even go over there. Nobody actually expects you to fight anyone of substance. Just do what you need to do with Lamont Roach, then schedule your rematch with Isaac Cruz. Nobody expects you to fight Keyshawn. Nobody expects you to fight Shakur. Nobody expects you to go to Saudi. Nobody. The media that keeps finding different ways to ask you the same questions about those fighters are only doing so because they have bills to pay. They gotta upload something to their channels. Underneath it all, they don't expect you to fight those fighters.
And you seen how the guy was, he looked at the scorecard. Yeah,
Turkey hopped up and
come on, man. You want to get Tank over here and fight? Man, I already know what y'all gonna do. Yeah. But every time I say something, it's like I'm hating.
No, don't even go over there. Don't bother with Turkey. Don't bother with Saudi. Don't bother with Shakur. That's the latest excuse. There's always one. But before Turki LL Sheik even came into it, and before Shakur Stevenson paired up with him, he was already calling you out. And you didn't want to do it then. Now you're using Turki as an excuse to not do it now. I'm not surprised. I told you. This kid's gonna go his entire boxing career having not lived up to the expectations set before him because he, like many PBC fighters, isn't what you think he is. He's the last gasp of what is a failing company trying desperately to keep their heads above water.
Come on, man. They fit gloves on you.
No.
Yeah, that's how he was.
Yeah. Well, I done worse. I'd have done worse than that.
You would have done worse?
Than Paddy.
Come on.
How do you think Padley did? Like, he went 9 rounds.
And you seen the fight after? Boy, he looked like a clean. He looked like he wasn't no fight or nothing. Facts.
I know you don't like to give these guys the clout and everything, but do you understand where the fans are coming from? It's like, we want to know who the best lightweight in the world is.
Bro, it's because at first they were saying like the 4 kings at first. Like, who was the 4 kings? I don't even took
Hagler, Hearns.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, he's talking about his version. Him, Ryan, T.O., and Devin.
What the fuck happened?
T.O. lost to Cambodia.
Devin lost to Ryan. And then you beat Ryan.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. It's always about the person. And it's like, and another thing, they tired of his ass. Nobody want to keep watching that boring shit. That's why they want to, all right, let me hurry up and let me hurry up and cash them out. That's basically what they want to do. That's why they keep streaming my name. Because they hear that I say I'm retiring. Why ain't been do that?
Been do what? Call you out? He's been calling you out long before Turki came into it. He's been calling you out since he arrived in the lightweight division when he was still at Top Rank. You didn't want to do it when he was with Top Rank, and you don't want to do it now when he's with Turki. It's always an excuse.
Why ain't been make these fights happen? Why ain't been do that? These guys, come on, these guys...
It's a merry-go-round of media members asking him the same questions they already know the answers to because they're the same questions they already asked him before. I say do something different. Don't fight Shakur. Don't fight Keyshawn. None of them are worthy, but for some reason Lamont Roach is. And Frank Martin. Whatever. You've already climbed the mountaintop, so stick to the plan. This is gonna be your last year in the sport of boxing? Awesome. You've already fought the great Rolly Romero, the unstoppable Frank Martin, the undeniable Mario Barrios. What else is there left to do? After running a gauntlet like that. You did it, man. You're done. Congratulations. Bye. Men's super lightweight news. Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, and Ryan Gersha are all confirmed for May 2nd Fatal Fury card. The main 3 contests for Ring Magazine's Fatal Fury City of the Wolves card have been announced for May 2nd in Times Square, New York. Teofimo Lopez will defend his WBO super lightweight title against Arnold Barboza on the 3-fight card. Barboza was last seen defeating Jack Catterall in Manchester for his right to fight for the title. Lopez was last seen disputing his contract with Top Rank and is now teamed up with Turki LL Sheik for this big chance. Given the fighters that are fighting on the card, you got Ryan Garcia from the West Coast, Devin Haney from the West Coast, Arnold Barboza from the West Coast. It would have been ideal to do this over there, but then again, if Turki LL Sheik were concerned with gate revenue and ticket sales, he wouldn't be giving this fight away. In case you're not aware, this fight is open to the public. You can walk in and watch it. Jose Ramirez is from the West Coast too. It's not saying that there aren't boxing fans in New York, in the tri-state area, but I think given the number of West Coast fighters on this bill, it would have been ideal to do this in California. I enjoy the spectacle. I see the vision. This fight is in association with the console game Fatal Fury. And you know how you're choosing your characters when you're going to play with your friends, and then you pick the board, the stage at which you're going to fight? New York City services as the backdrop for this engagement. This is going to be a pay-per-view. While you don't have to pay to be there to see it, though you better get there early if you want to, if you're watching at home, you will have to pay per view, though given the price point of Turkey's pay-per-views, which are considerably less than this weekend's upcoming pay-per-view, $80 versus the $26 you had to pay to see Better Be versus Bivol. I can't stress this enough. The bottom line for Turkey is promoting tourism in the region, tourism in Saudi, bringing the Riyadh Season brand abroad to familiarize the audience with it. That's what it's all about. It's not about gate revenue, it's not about pay-per-view buys, and thus, he's willing to pay to play because he has a deeper treasure chest than everybody else, and his bottom line isn't turning over a profit from boxing, it's familiarizing the world, the whole world, with the Riyadh Season brand. And Ring Magazine? This was one prediction I got wrong. I did not think Teofimo Lopez would stay in the super lightweight division long enough to see himself defending the brown belt against Arnold. He didn't want to fight Arnold in the past when they were both at top rank. What could have changed his mind? Money. The money he stands to make. If Top Rank puts together a fight through conventional means, they have their sales projections and what they anticipate the fight is going to generate, and the purses would be based on that. So the fight purse for Lopez versus Barboza by itself, it really ain't much. Not by itself, but when you involve Turkey, who's willing to pay above market value to put together a fight, put together a show, well, that spices things up and gives Teofimo an incentive to finally fight this guy, who's been gunning for him since his days at 135. A lot has changed since then. Arnold Barboza is no longer with Top Rank. He's with Golden Boy Promotions now. Teofimo has since enlisted the aid of Eddie Reynoso, who's going to be training him moving forward. I believe this will be their first fight together, at least in camp. I don't know if he's going to be there physically for the fight. Remember, this is supposed to be going down May 2nd. That's a Friday, and I believe that Canelo Alvarez will be boxing that same weekend on Saturday. If I had to guess whose corner Eddie's going to be in, he's going to be in Canelo's corner. Canelo is the priority. That's troubling. And so is Arnold Barboza, a taller, longer fighter that likes to stick and move and stay on the outside. Ingredients that Teofimo often struggles with. Maybe that's why he never fancied this fight and never really wanted to fight this fighter. Teofimo's a boxer puncher and a counter puncher. He's at his best when he can catch you in between when you're stepping in. But if he has to come to you... We've seen what he looks like doing that with Sandor Martin, with Jermaine Ortiz. We've seen what he looks like doing that. The hope is that in training with Eddie Reynoso, alongside Canelo Alvarez, Teofimo will learn to apply pressure effectively, like Canelo does. But is that asking too much after just one camp, one fight together? This isn't really an action fight. That is, there's only going to be as much action as Teofimo can deliver because Arnold's going to move and punch. Arnold's going to box. He's not going to engage. So I guess they're not going to do the Alcatraz thing. Prison sex! Ew. Don't drop the soap. Teofimo, don't drop the ball. Don't lose to Arnold. He said he wanted Richardson Hitchens. Remember, he said he wanted the unified titles with him. I guess they didn't get anywhere with that. But this is good preparation for that fight.